Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Jamaal Napoleon, Coach Jamaal Napoleon. If you haven't met me, if you have, you know that I'm the defensive back coach here. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what we already went through on the field earlier, and that is what I expect out of the secondary this year, this upcoming season. And so we're going to talk about a little bit of everything, the nuances. We're going to talk about what we expect, what we don't expect, and how we are going to do those things. So we're not going to do full talk at this point, but because we just came off the field, we're going to do a little bit more of just some good points and points of emphasis for you today. So I know you guys have the handout, so we're just going to get right into it. And so we're going to talk about, I guess I would call this my secondary philosophy. So when we talk about what it's like to be in the secondary and what I expect to be in this secondary that I coach, we're going to talk about things like our objectives and our theme, and then we'll talk about some other things as we go along. So again, fellas, my first big thing, and we talked about my pet peeves on the field, and I'm pretty sure you guys got yelled at a little bit, as you can see. We're going to want to win our individual battles. Winning our individual battles is I guess I would say, of almost the utmost importance. Of course, we're going to play unit ball together as a secondary, as we'll get into our acronym of TACT a little bit later. But I really, really want to stress to you guys, winning your individual battle. Because if we can win those individual battles, we will dictate the game. And one thing that is paramount, when you look at successful defenses, they have always found a way to win one-on-one battles. That doesn't necessarily mean that because you're in cover one or whatnot that you're winning those individual battles, but it's winning your assignment battles, playing your zone successfully, coming up and tackling successfully, doing what we have practiced, what we've studied, what we've discussed here in Chalk Talk. Those are the things that are going to make us successful as a unit and win those individual battles. So when we talk about our theme, I hate, I guess, using the word theme, but more so philosophy-wise as a theme is we want to see it, attack it, and conquer it. Now, I know a lot of you guys heard me yelling this a little bit earlier. I'm going to preach it right back to you again, is the most important piece of information, or the most important thing you can know as a D-back, is to see everything. And how do we do that? Of course, we're going to get into that a little bit later. We got into some of that in individual today, team today, some coaching drills. We did that today as well with you guys, but we want to see the ball at all times. It doesn't mean stare at the quarterback. It doesn't mean stare down these routes and receivers, but what it does do is it gives us a unique opportunity to watch things develop and insert ourselves into these passing routes, into these passing plays without cheating ourselves, cheating our technique, and cheating our system that we've developed for our secondary. And so the theme will always be see it, feel it, attack it, or see it, attack it, conquer it. What I mean by attack it is, a little later on we're going to talk about exchanging catches for headaches. And what I mean by that is we're going to violently separate anyone who catches a ball from that ball. Whether it be through strips, whether it be through a nice subtle form tackling, nice good pop, or we're going to attack and game tackle, we will always try to be aggressive. We will always attack everything from the pass to the run. This means coming up and getting a ball at a tie point. This means coming up and making a tackle, not waiting for the ball carrier to come to you, but actually going to the ball carrier and attacking the ball carrier, or going through a receiver and attacking the ball. All right? And conquer it. Of course, the paramount thing here is, or the most important thing here is winning those individual battles. We're going to talk about conquering it. What I mean by conquering that is just simply saying win the battle, conquer the moment. If a ball comes your way and you have a break on that ball, go get the ball. Do not pussyfoot, do not delay, do not think about getting the ball, go get the ball. That's the most important thing for us this year, is seeing, attacking, and conquering. The next thing we're going to do is match our patterns. What I mean by match patterns is learn the nomenclature of these patterns, learn the breaking points, learn the route combinations, learn things that give us an upper hand against these receivers. One of the most things that we've talked about earlier is the easiest way, I would say, to frustrate a receiver is to know, mimic, shadow, and attack what they do. We are always at a disadvantage on the defense because we don't know what the offense is doing. We don't know what these receivers are being told or what they're taught or what they're doing. But we can study their habits. We can understand their nuances. We can see what we can do to counteract those things and give us more of an upper hand. And that's what I mean by matching the patterns as far as learning their routes, learning down and distance, learning how to attack those things. We talked about that earlier. Down and distance, down and distance, down and distance. That's something that we're going to play smart with. Again, that's going to lead back into those individual battles, our overall objective. And again, that's cheating the receiver. That's included. Beating a receiver to their route, understanding how to let the receiver take you to their route, understanding not to get flustered, understanding how to stick to your technique. Those are things that are going to cheat the receiver because a lot of receivers expect you to either be not as strong or not as fast as them, which again we're going to get into some of our other teachings about how to make yourself as equally as dangerous, more so than athletically but more mentally, and a lot of things in the secondary happen to be mental. So we're going to use this acronym this year I would like to talk about is TACT. That's technique, accountability, communication, and tenacity. So these are the 4 things that I feel that you cannot be a successful secondary member without, nor can you be a successful football player without. Technique, of course, we've drilled that in your heads from the day you walked in here. We're going to continue to drill that. That is the paramount of everything. How do you do this successfully? Why do we do it successfully? What makes us prepare better? What makes us learn things more? Again, watching film, getting into your playbook, working on your feet, your IQ. It goes far, 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 far beyond the gym. It goes way beyond just watching film. It's a combination of things, but your technique is always going to carry you. We're going to talk about those different techniques, whether it be inside shade, outside shade, cat technique, stab technique. A lot of things that we want to do. We will talk about that a little bit later. So accountability. Accountability, again, is one of those things that go on and off the field. That is knowing what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to go about it, and taking accountability for it means that if you blow an assignment, if you blow a play, or if you get beat, we all are going to get beat. Defensive backs are literally on an island no matter where you are. They only see what happens when you get beat. They never see you not giving up a pass. They never see you not giving up a touchdown, but they always see when you're beat. When you give up a touchdown, when you give up a third and long, a pivotal catch, they're going to see those things. But be accountable. Understand that you're going to get beat and fix that. Accountability just goes far beyond saying, okay, my bad, I gave up a pass, or damn it, I gave up a touchdown. It goes far beyond that. It's learning how to correct that mistake and move forward from that mistake. So we're going to take accountability this year in the secondary. Communication is, again, super important to any defensive scheme, not just the secondary play, but in the secondary, if us 4 or 5 defensive backs, if we can't communicate together, if you can't come together as a unit, that's going to cause dismay. Communication includes things like saying, hey, I have this, you have this, hey, echoing the call, making sure that we all understand what's going on the field. Communication is being accountable for just more than your zone, but understand, saying that there's a pass, there's a run, watch the draw, watch the trap. There's also making sure that people around you understand their assignments. That's going to be great communication. Tenacity, again, we talked about this earlier, but tenacity is simply summed up as, for me, is to attack everything with passion. Again, these are things that transcend just the football field for us. It transcends just going through the motions of going through indie, film, getting on the field and doing work. Tenacity is really having passion about what you do, and we're going to be passionate about separating these receivers from the ball, from taking that ball away, from completely shutting down and condensing their offense. So I know you guys have the handouts. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier in Indy, but we're going to go into some more key things, or the purpose and responsibility. Okay, so gentlemen, like we were talking about a little bit earlier on in practice, we were talking about the purpose of being a defensive back. one of the first things that I like to point out is that preventing the long ball is one of the things that is going to be our primary focus this year. I think last year we gave up a lot of passes that were over 15 yards, and that's what I deem as the quote-unquote long ball, or big plays. Anything over 15 yards is considered a big play in my book. I know you guys are probably laughing because I have a laundry list full of things that I don't want you to do or that I want you to do consistently, and this is going to be no different. As I know, I know you're pointing and things like that, but it's true. It's going to be one of those things where just we won't tolerate these long plays, but sticking to our themes, of being applicable, having that technique, the accountability, the communication, and tenacity. Those are going to cut down on those big plays or prevent those long balls. Also, we want to create turnovers. Of course, that's why we're on defense. That's what we're here for, fellas. We always want to, of course, our big one is the interception, of course, and be actively go up and get those balls and take those away, but also create fumbles. Shake these receivers up a little bit. We want to make sure that they don't want to catch the ball. If by some rare feat that they catch the ball, we want them to pay for it, and that's what I like to call exchanging catches for headaches. We want to make sure that when they do catch the ball, even if they hold on to it, if they don't 100% complete, that they know that we're there. We're always going to be there, making their job extremely damn difficult. And a catch on our secondary will be a rare feat. It'll be an actual accomplishment. So hang your hats on that, gents. And then also, just because we're the secondary doesn't mean that we're not going to be active in the run game. A lot of times we forget about that piece of being a great secondary player. It's just more than defending the pass or not giving up a touchdown, keeping things in front of us, making deflections and interceptions. We want to be a complete secondary, and so therefore we're going to be active in the tackle game, and that's going to be one of those things is we're going to defend the perimeter on runs. We're not going to sit back and wait for somebody to come to the perimeter. We're going to actually attack them. All right. Well, of course, we don't want to get caught in the backfield. We don't want to stare into the backfield in case there's a running back. But we want to make sure that they know it's not going to be a cakewalk of sorts. There's no outside running on us as a unit. And so one thing I think I just want to go back to is I want to talk about how we play the opponent, not just outside, but how we play the opponent inside. And that's going to be important for everyone, not just the secondary, but it also this ties into your cohorts. It plays into our backers as well. How do we defend the inside? Are we converging to the ball to make tackles? Are we sitting back? Are we waiting? Are we getting off our blocks? Those are a lot of things that we've been preaching to you guys from day one. We're going to continue to keep on you guys as camp continues, as the season continues. We're going to keep on you guys about getting off a block, coming to make a tackle, coming to the ball as a unit. That's everyone. I should see everyone converging to the ball. There's no reason why we should see one guy on the backside jogging and we got two other guys coming to the ball. Everyone better have their asses to the ball, or else. We got extra work to do. If we got to work it out, we'll work it out. But again, those things are paramount, at least to me. So one of the biggest things I want to kind of step back a little bit here and talk to you guys about that's not noted is the team that makes the fewest mistakes usually wins the football game. That's how it goes. And I guess you could apply that to any sport. That one thing about any sport is the team that makes the least mistakes always creates themselves extra opportunities to win the game. And this is no different. And this goes back to that accountability. This goes back to that communication. This goes back to that technique, that tenacity. Goes right back to that TACT acronym, is that we have to not make silly mistakes. Are you going to get beat? Absolutely. Are there some great athletes and quarterbacks out here that we're going to face? Absolutely. We're going to see that. We're going to give up some plays. However, we don't want to give up plays because we're not mentally prepared, because we're making mistakes, because we're not using our technique, because we're not listening to coaches, because we're not doing what we're supposed to do as a unit or as an individual. That's just something that we're not going to tolerate this year. So, I'm going to be on your ass about it. I know the other coaches are going to be on your ass about it. Mental mistakes have to go. Bar none, have to go. And the last thing is overachieving, fellas. It sounds crazy. Overachievement is always seen as something that, it's not a good thing. it's a bad thing. It's using a negative term. Champions always overachieve. It's always the small nuances that that we talked about. Even our head coach Scott talks about it a little bit. Being an overachiever is going to push you forward as an athlete, as a man, as a human being, doing things well, small things well, and continuing to strive to do better. That's what we want to do here all season long. We're not going to rest on our laurels. We're not going to, okay, I had a good game last week, so I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm not going to step up a little bit more. I'm not going to attack in practice as I usually would. I'm not going to hit the weight room as hard as I would. I'm not going to, watch film as hard as I normally would or as attentively. Those type things make us very complacent, I would say. And complacency is one of the worst things you can have, especially in the secondary, in my opinion, is to be complacent, thinking that you know everything, thinking that you can't be beaten any given Sunday, as they say. So moving on, if you want to go to the next page of the quick little handout I gave you, we're going to talk about what things that I feel, or the 6 factors of being a successful defensive back, at least to defend the pass. We're going to talk about your keys. So what are your keys? Always read your keys and never make a mistake. Again, we're going back to that theme of see it, attack it, conquer it. We want to, again, make sure that we are king. You cannot have your eyes closed. You cannot be unattentive. You can't be in la-la land in your own space. You have to be locked in on this receiver, locked in on that offense, ready to read your keys to make a play. And also, you have to perfect those keys. And we're going to keep drilling that into you. I know we did that earlier, but we're going to perfect those keys and positioning. All right, so the second thing going into that communication piece is words. I've never heard or never seen a successful secondary be quiet. So you guys who don't like to talk, you guys who can't say pass, run, in, crack, things like that, you just simply won't play. Again, we're predicated on communication and gelling as a unit. And if you guys can't talk to one another on the field, talk to one another and get a feel for each other down and know what's going on in the game, we're not going to be successful in any manner in the secondary. Also is position. I will drill this into your head. I said it 1,000,001 damn times today. I'll say it 1,000,002 times tomorrow. Is positioning, and technique. If you don't have good position on the receiver, whether it be in man, whether it be in zone, we're not going to win very many battles. We're going to lose those individual battles. That means we're going to stay on the field. We're going to be tired. And 9 times out of 10, we're going to give up a big play. So again, we want to make sure that, as a pass defender, we want to in zone. We want to make sure that we see where the ball is coming from. And man, we want to make sure that we are attacking through the receiver's body to the ball so we can see where the ball is coming from. Learn those keys, those 3 or 5 step drops. We all know that a 3-step drop is in a quick game. A 5-step drop or more is that medium to long pass. Learn those drops. Learn down and distance. Learn your positioning. All right. Anticipation. Again, that turns into that down and distance that I just covered there. But understanding what's going on in the game. Understand down and distance. Understand their formations, receiver splits, things like that. That's going to give us the upper hand absolutely every time. And of course, the last 2 are pretty simple for me, and that is going to get the ball at its highest point, attacking the ball, removing the receiver, and then also learning their routes, which we talked about before, matching the patterns, cheating the receiver. We're going to master that art this season. It's really going to give us a leg up on the competition. I know you guys keep hearing this from all the coaches. You keep hearing it from myself. That's because it's extremely important. If we can do what they do better and in a more timely fashion and be more aggressive and smart, we're going to start to really bottle and funnel these teams up. That's what we want. We want them playing on a condensed field. We want them playing on a smaller half of the field. We want to take away their primary weapons. So those are things during the week we're going to teach you. Of course, during film, you're going to be able to see that. Learn their favorite routes. Learn what they run on 1st and 10. Learn what they run on 3rd and short. See what these receivers are doing. Are there any weaknesses in these receivers? And then let's exploit those weaknesses. Of course, you're going to see these matchups during the week, so you'll be exposed to them. But again, just be ready to apply these techniques, apply these positions, apply these things that we're talking about right now. So a little bit earlier On the field, we also did our technique talk-off. We talked about our stance, our start, our backpedaling. Of course, those basic keys are reading the ball to man. So we're going to read ball to man in zone coverage, and we're going to read man to ball when in man coverage. I talked a little bit earlier about those three to five step drops. Again, those are paramount for knowing your position and knowing when and where to drive on the ball to anticipate and get a great jump on the ball. So we're going to talk about cushion. I know I got on a lot of you guys asked us earlier about letting receivers get into your cushion very quickly without moving your body, without moving your feet. A lot of you guys are still starting to turn and run. That's something we're going to fix. How to use your cushion properly. Again, if you can't be threatened by a receiver, that's going to be a great leg up for us, a great advantage for you. Because if a guy can't threaten me or make me feel like I have to backpedal, it gives me more time to do what? Read. Gives me more time to read what's going on in front of me. Gives me more time for him to take me to the ball so I can attack and conquer him. Good evening, my name is Coach Jamaal Napoleon. I just wanted to reach out and send you guys an extra message saying thank you so much to the Bill Walsh Minority Coaching Program and the Detroit Lions for giving me a life-making opportunity. Of course, it's always been a dream of mine since being a child, is to be around football. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about and something that I've always wanted to do, whether it be in learning, coaching, playing, or whatever I could do. Just to soak up the game has been awesome. So I thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to be a part of your family, and hopefully I see you guys soon. Go Lions.